Grip socks are great, and now they're even better with Pure Grip Socks Pro. Better fit, moisture wicking, amazing comfort, and all the extra grip you need. Choose from 10 different colors for just $16.99 a pair at puregripsocks.com.
That was a bad idea. Created in 1950 to allow footballers to train on frozen pitches during the winter months, the Adidas Samba Classic is, as the name would suggest, a true classic. And I have them here with a bit of a twist. Ladies and gentlemen, the Adidas Samba Team Pack, this being the Arsenal pair, retailing for $100, featuring a red upper, white stripes, and gum rubber bottom. There's also a Juve pair with the logo on the tongue in a much more traditional black and white. A Real Madrid pair in more of a whiteout colorway with a suede accent there on the toe and a gum rubber outsole, as well as a Manchester United pair in black and red with a dark brown sole. There's also a Bayern Munich colorway that unfortunately I don't have to show you guys, but I think what's important to note regarding this team pack is that unlike a traditional pair of either black or white Samba Classics that are readily available at $75, an absolute bargain by 2022 football boot standards, these are a $25 premium, $100 a pair, with some noticeable differences when compared to a regular Samba Classic. Are they worth the extra $25? And is this 72-year-old trainer still worth it compared to all the more modern options out there? I'll do my best to answer these questions as we go through all the details and take a look at how they fit and feel on feet. So if you're interested in learning more, please stick around. And if you're interested in any of these team pack Sambas for yourself, you can pick them up for the $100 retail price by checking out the first link down below. Get them before they're gone though, because I don't anticipate this pack being available for all that long. And for those of you that have been requesting more indoor and turf boots on the channel, drop a like on the video. It lets me know you want to see more. And if you're not subscribed to the channel already, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you don't miss out on all my reviews of all the latest football boots of 2022. So first things first, and this has nothing to do with performance, it's totally a personal opinion, but I think there's going to be a fair amount of people that agree with me. The Samba Classic is a great looking pair of shoes. Whether you want to wear these to play in, which is one thing, but also wearing them casually, I think you can get away with wearing these with just about anything, and the fact that they're giving it to us in other color options other than classic black or white is pretty cool. What I also like about this team pack is while this is an Arsenal pair, the only Arsenal logo or branding is right here on the tongue. So when you tie up to the very top lace position, it kind of covers up that logo and keeps things pretty subtle. So even if you really like the black and red of this Manchester United pair, you're going to end up covering up that logo anyways. So unless somebody actually knows which specific trainers you have on your feet, they're going to have no idea there's Manchester United branding. From a fit, feel, and performance perspective, however, there's been quite a bit of variation in different models of Samba over the years. What I will say is, given the $25 premium on this team pack, the quality seems to be above average for a lot of the Sambas that I've handled and worn over the last, I would say, 10 years or so, because it's kind of in constant production. There's always new variations coming out. The leather that they've used is actually really nice, and there's so many Sambas, certainly Samba Classics, kind of more or less stay pretty consistent, but a lot of these different variations use cheaper materials, sometimes even synthetic. This actually uses a really nice leather, and one of the key differences between this and the $75 Samba Classic is that these actually give you a leather tongue as well that's been shortened already, so you don't have that big flap hanging across the top of the tongue if that's something that you don't really care for. It's nice that that's already eliminated here, and honestly I think that this leather material does feel more premium than the kind of foam-based tongue that you're going to find on the cheaper Samba Classic. Another key difference that you're going to notice is in the heel liner, which I don't like quite as much. This utilizes a synthetic leather material, and that's the case with all the colorways, versus that really soft, I would almost call it like a sock-like material that certainly doesn't grip your socks quite as well, but it's incredibly comfortable and does a good job of locking your heel in place, all things considered. I just find it to be a little bit more comfortable, but that is not to say that this synthetic leather material feels uncomfortable in any way at all. What's also interesting to note is that there does seem to be a leather quality difference between these two pairs and these two pairs. The United and Real Madrid pairs use definitely a thicker and softer leather material. You can particularly see it here around the lace area where you can see the cut of leather and how thick and soft it is. The leather grain is much more prominent, and in general, it just feels more premium on feet. It's a softer leather material with, of course, that suede overlay in the toe box area, which is just a signature of the Samba Classic. Where the Arsenal and Juve pair, if you look really closely, it's just a cheaper, thinner leather material. It's not that it feels bad in any way at all. I would still say this is above average in terms of quality for a pair of Sambas, but it is interesting to note that between these four, two of them definitely seem to be a little bit nicer than the others. Regardless, from a touch perspective, the entire upper is made from leather. You have that little bit of extra padding and grip from the suede here at the toe, regardless of which one that you go for, and it's just a very consistent, kind of traditional feel in a pair of football boots or trainers, whatever you want to classify these as. And in general, I just think they feel really good on the ball. The insoles are technically glued in, but you can remove them, and you can see are relatively cheap. Again, kind of to be expected for a 72-year-old design. You would think they'd update it, but they haven't. It's just a really thin kind of blue foam material with a super thin liner on the surface. It's not great, but kind of what you expect at this price point. As for the midsole and outsole, it is classic Samba. Nothing's changed whatsoever. It's got a little bit of foam running the length of the bottom of your foot, providing some underfoot cushioning, but for the most part, these are relatively low profile and fairly raw. So if you're looking for that really kind of heavily cushioned underfoot sensation, look elsewhere, go for something a little bit more modern. They have not upgraded that foam package in any way at all, but the rubber outsole is something that I really like. It's got a tall lip all the way along the entire edge of the upper, which is great for the sake of durability, and the type of rubber that they use, even regardless of color, it just grips really well on pretty much any flat surface. I'm not sure if it's the pattern here where you can see you kind of have these suction cups here along the lateral side of the forefoot and toe box area, or if it's this really unique kind of almost spiky surface. It's almost like a turf outsole, but ultimately pretty flat. It just grips really nicely and doesn't clog up with dust. It does a really good job on indoor courts, on concrete, asphalt, whatever it may be. And if it's just walking around casually, again, grip's never really going to be an issue, but they're also extremely durable, so expect them to last a long time. Which brings us to the weight, where I thought it'd be fun to compare the Samba Classic to the Nike alternative in the Street Gato, both in the same size 10 US. We'll start off with the Nikes, and you can see that they weigh in at 10.9 ounces, the equivalent of 309 grams. Very different fit and feel to these, but relatively lightweight, all things considered. And we'll throw on the Samba Classic, which weighs in at 12 ounces, the equivalent of 340 grams. So from a weight perspective, the Sambas are significantly heavier. It's not too surprising, especially considering how much rubber there is to the outsole, but honestly, that extra weight does not bother me. These are still excellent trainers. I don't think if you're buying Samba Classics, weight is that important to you. On feet, I really wouldn't say there is a major difference in fit or feel when compared to a regular pair of Samba Classics. I think it's safe to say that the leather feels a little bit softer on these than some of the recent Samba Classics that I've had on my feet, particularly the Real Madrid and Manchester United pairs, which just have a little bit of a thicker, slightly softer feeling leather, but both feel really good. And I do appreciate the leather tongue that's been shortened a little bit. It feels quite good across the top of your foot. The leather heel liner, or synthetic leather heel liner, like I said, is not my favorite compared to the regular Samba Classic, kind of really soft one, but I definitely don't think it's a bad thing whatsoever. The feel underfoot is super flexible. Again, not a ton of underfoot cushioning, but enough there to where if you don't mind having that low profile feel, I think you're gonna have a really good experience with them. And the traction from this outsole on a flat surface is really, really good, not to mention super durable. From a fit and width perspective, these have plenty of width to them. They are going to fit literally anybody because of that nice deep central lacing system and standalone tongue. It's a traditional football boot, and they typically work well for just about everybody. And then as far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing these in a 10 US because I had more intentions of wearing them casually. But if you do want to wear these as a pair of indoors or futsal shoes, I definitely think going true to size is probably the way to go. I would normally wear these in a 9.5 if I planned on playing in them, but for casual wear, that half size extra room is just a little bit more comfortable. Not to say that I couldn't play in them in a size 10 US, my toe is still very, very close to the end, but it's just something to be aware of with these. If you want to play in them, go true to size. If you're just wearing them casually, going half a size up definitely wouldn't be a bad idea. So in conclusion, there's a reason why Adidas hasn't really messed with the design of the Samba for the last 72 years. They're just good. The leather upper feels great. The leather tongue you get on these colorways in particular, I think also feel really good. The fit is great. The comfort is fantastic. I like the low profile underfoot sensation that they provide, and the traction is seriously underrated when compared to all the new indoor models out there. Not only is it super durable, it also just grips really well. There's something to be said about the superior leather quality you're going to get from the Manchester United and Real Madrid colorways versus the Arsenal and Juve ones, but at the end of the day, I don't think that should be much of a deal breaker if you absolutely must have an Arsenal or Juve pair based on who you support or what you like the look of. I think for the extra $25, they're definitely worth it if you like those differences. Otherwise, if you're just after the best value for money options, definitely going for the regular colorways, either black or white, of the $75 Samba Classic is still something that I would highly recommend doing, even 72 years later. If you're looking for a pair of trainers that you can play in but also wear every single day, all day long, I honestly don't think there's a better option.